Hey guys, welcome back. I'll make this intro a little quicker because a lot to talk about on the charts today. There were so many small caps, it was hard to even pick one. I mean, we had PHAS, ARPO, HX, which I actually traded pre-market. I don't do that all the time. ABIO, TCCO. I mean, it was just ripping all over the place. And it was a little bit tough to try to figure out which one I want to really be trading. But I gotta say ABIO, for several reasons, specifically the low float, was the hottest one. And this one's up 200% today. And who knows how much further it can go. It's definitely still showing big signs of strength, so I wouldn't be surprised maybe if we reach the highs of the last gaps. But I also wouldn't be surprised if it's just totally dumped. You never know, and that's why I'm not a big fan of holding these things overnight. But today I do want to talk a little bit more about what I look for when I hold overnight and swing trading in general. Like always, I'll be reviewing all the trades. I think there's always some good lessons to be learned with that. And also be focusing on what could have been some really, really nice entries. And oftentimes, those are around the stock, the small cap that has the most volume, which again, in this case was ABIO, which I hope I was saying the whole time. I keep on getting mixed up ABIO with ARPO. It's horrible when the tickers are so similar. The live stream though, in general, was some really good fun again today. We're talking about the whole challenge near the end in general and where we're going to take it, how long we're going to be trading for. And I want to give a quick thanks for Marco for leaving some kind words. This is just the beginning of the $25,000 challenge where we're learning the gap and go strategy. And once we break the $25,000 limit, who knows where we're going to take it. So if you're new here and you want to join the $25,000 challenge, don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell icon too. And I'll see you tomorrow when we go live to first review the watch list at 9:15 a.m. and then trade the market open. Hit that like button, guys, if you enjoy the content. Leave questions and comments below. I answer all of them myself. Let's go to the charts now. Hey guys, welcome to the recap video. So wow, what a day today. A lot of big movers. They just happened to happen a little bit later in the morning. So pre-market, we were talking about on the stream, it was a very active pre-market. So IBIO, PHAS, HX, ARPO, all these tickers were moving quite a lot pre-market. And that's why we said there's a good chance that we're going to see a choppy open, maybe not the best continuations, and then maybe a bit later in the morning. And somehow that's exactly what happened, and I managed not to really capitalize on it too hot. So let's go through just some of the lead gappers. I'm starting with ABIO because I know a lot of you guys were looking at this one, and then I want to talk about a few really good buying opportunities on this one. And then I also want to talk about, maybe is this going to be something worth swing trading? Out of the gates though, ABIO, this was kind of a late bloomer. I remember watching this one right here this morning about 8 o'clock. And I was thinking about maybe buying this one. It was up 90%. The float was 1 million. That was the most interesting part to me on ABIO. You can see here shares outstanding 1.6 and the actual float was about 1 point, I don't know, something like that as well. We pulled back here kind of aggressively, but 23%, not really too bad. Started holding our highs here in this area. And then we started making our way to the upside. And this is when things started getting a little bit more interesting. I kind of should have, could have, would have bought it right here as we broke above VWAP, had a very, very light pullback. And on the 5-minute chart, you can see there wasn't even a pullback here. So this was a clear 5-minute breakout, 1-minute pullback, and then a continuation. This would have been really, 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 really sweet. 25% move. What I wanted to do, and out of the gates, I was like, okay. So I think ABIO, there's a good chance that, I was waiting for this to kind of consolidate here, pull back a little bit more. And then out of the gates, I wanted to buy it around 8 and then hopefully, sell into a move at 9, maybe even a break of 9. That was kind of my thesis on this one. This one instantly tried to pull higher and then absolutely did. This was a really, really quick kind of move, and I didn't do any trading on ABIO. I don't know. The rest of the morning was a little bit slow on it. We had some failed moves here. I think buying at 7.5 would have been a really good move. And it's a little disappointing because I should have just stuck to my gut and, saying, I also was talking about, this is a clear breakout zone at 7.5. We have multi-month support in this resistance as well. A pullback to 7.5 could be a good bounce. It actually was. We even got halted. This was like a 20% move. So ABIO, that 20% move, boom, you could have been done trading with the morning right there and then at about 9:37 to about 9:44 with a halt. So that's pretty amazing. This thing absolutely exploded. We had this $9 breakout. This was, again, if you check out the long-term chart, a clear multi-month support and resistance zone. Where's $9? Right around here. So we have many tops and bottoms in this area. So you can see these retests in these areas. And let me go back a little bit further because it comes a little bit clearer. You can see these bottoms in this area, right? And then we break at 9. You can see here we had a pullback all the way to 9. We had some tests in this area. We had a bounce in this area. So $9 is pretty important. And when we broke $9 with volume, this thing just rocketed out of here, 23%. And then again at $11, same situation. So there was tons of good trading opportunities on ABIO, but you know, somehow, basically, it was a little unfortunate because by like 10, what was it? What time was it? It was like 10 o'clock, 10:05 or something like that. I was already out of trades. So let me review the trades, and you know, they were okay. It was the fact that, you know, I just ran out, right? I could have just kept trading. We could have had probably a pretty nice day because we had some pretty good moves. ABIO, just really quickly before we go to the go to the trades, you know, is this something that I would want to be swing trading? It was a question that kind of came up today in the stream, and let me drink some water here quickly. And honestly, I don't really believe so, because in the past, we've had many spikes to the upside. A lot of the spikes, though, were very short-lived. And you can see right around $16, $17, that's kind of where they really, really top out. And even the green spikes, you know, opening here, closing here, they don't really live much more than one day. So I don't think I would want to risk that on ABIO. I don't really think I would want to be holding through for a potential gap tomorrow. It's tough to say, you know, especially right now. You know, we're kind of getting into noon. If we hold this kind of $11 key support and resistance zone, and we kind of end the day strong in terms of at least above VWAP, maybe we'll dip below VWAP for a second, but that could be a big indicator that tomorrow we might see ABIO on our gap scanner again. So I wouldn't totally discount it. I like that it's holding its highs, but I'm a little bit nervous based on past performance how this one's going to go. In terms of news catalysts, we had a lot of coronavirus news. COVID-19, they're developing a program for treatment, and they got the announcement for that. You can check it on the catalyst on your own time. There's a bunch of news about that today. And a lot of the lead gappers, for example, PHAS, also had similar coronavirus news, drug testing coronavirus pending FDA approval. This is really the ticker that I thought it was our lead gapper on the day. And let's quickly review why. It was gapping up 90%. It was one of the first ones really to, you know, that our scanner was picking up. 24 million float, US biotech, again with that catalyst. But I didn't like the fact that it pulled back so much already, 25% since the pre-market high. We were trending under VWAP. It was not looking too healthy. I'm in my IRA account. Let me quickly switch this one to my cash account so you guys can see the trades I made. I was like, why are my trades not popping up? I was so confused just for a second. What I did like about this one, and I thought was going to happen, was we were going to see a bit red to green move, which we kind of did. And I got a little bit too aggressive here on my first entry. I eventually cut this one as we kept on pulling lower. And then I tried again here for the red to green move. We had a nice little candle pop up here. And then we had this 1 minute make a move higher. So this was a breakout signal. Unfortunately, we didn't get follow through, and eventually got chopped out on this one for a tiny loss. So I took 2 small losses on this one. You know, at the opening bell, I was waiting here for a red to green move, rip past VWAP, ideally retest VWAP. So first get to 645, and then ideally break that area. Based on how it was selling off pre-market, maybe I was overly aggressive, but I really thought that this one had a bit more punch in it, and we didn't really get that. I tried one more time here to trade it, so I traded this one 3 times today. It was kind of unusual for me, and this was a 6% move here. This was kind of like the perfect trade because we had a 5-minute breakout. Oops, where's my chart? And this is one of my favorite setups. We have a 5-minute breakout. You can see here on the 5-minute chart, this is what I mean by that. This candle is a clear breakout, right? It's a clear over the other candles, the high over the other candles. And then we have actually this one right here. And then we have a 1-minute pullback, right? Enter there above the $6. That was acting as key support and resistance back here. We broke below it with low volume, broke back above it. And now with the EMAs below us as well. It's about 10 o'clock. And so I know things are a little bit slower in this time of day. It's not that, you know, hectic first 15 minutes. Whew, I think I'm talking too much. And 1 second here. I feel like I'm gonna lose my voice. It was a long stream today. So then we in 3 candles we have a nice move, 7% move here. So this was clean. I could have wrapped up here and been done basically, but since I did 4 trades today, so I have one more trade to review with you guys. I basically I had such small position size on all my trades. In this last one, I had even smaller position size. So I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna like hold it a little bit longer. It's kind of ridiculous because for this one to almost pay off, I would need a bigger move, which is a horrible way to think about any trade. And before I entered this trade, I was saying, I got to focus on percentages, not dollar amount, because even a 10% gainer, I'm only going to make like $60 on this one, which is, not really something to be enthusiastic about. Although it's still, $60. It's not a small amount of money necessarily, but it's just, when you're dealing with smaller position sizes, sometimes you don't take them as seriously. So instead of closing near VWAP, which I would have typically always done, I waited for a potential break past VWAP, which we eventually did get. But I kind of said, okay, well, this is not looking too good, dying volume here. And actually, after I got out, it did pull back 3%. I would have re-entered it here. Especially here as we were pulling back higher, this was looking pretty promising, and then instantly it shot up 11%, which is kind of unfortunate because that was the move I was waiting for. But I was out of trades at this point, so I couldn't be trading anymore. The rest of the day, PHAS kind of just kept on selling off. It just, I don't know. I don't know. It's tough because I almost want to say that this is the most interesting one to potentially trade overnight. But what you don't want is some sort of move like this where you have a gap up day and the next few days sell off and then you're down tremendously on your entry. That's what you don't want. We do have big support here at $6. So if we hold this $6 a little bit, maybe we'll dip below it like we are now. Maybe in the afternoon we'll start trending back above it. I think that could be maybe an indicator, but overall, I don't know. This one at the moment is not really seeing too much interest. It is kind of reminding me though of GRNQ. I just want to pull this one up for a quick second because GRNQ had a phenomenal afternoon. Where this one this one was a little bit ridiculous as well. So after I end the recap yesterday, we had a nice, you guys probably remember this from the recap yesterday if you watched it. We basically ended the recap somewhere in this area. We had a nice spike up, somewhere here. And I was like, okay, well, if we hold above the 15-minute EMA, I'm going to go ahead and get a long on this one. Got a nice pullback entry on this one. Broke up here. This was a beautiful trade. Unfortunately, I got a partial fill. So I did not get my, ideally 600 position size, 600 shares. I only got 300 shares. It was exactly did half of my order. And this was kind of annoying. I was like, oh man, I made a good chunk of a nice percentage gain on this one. I would have liked to re-enter here, but I was a little bit slow. And then I was waiting here for the break of 2.5. And I thought, there's a good chance that it needed to consolidate a little bit more. It didn't work. Well, it did consolidate a little bit, so I eventually got long here at 22. This breakout didn't work, and then I closed my position. Good thing because it kept on selling off pretty aggressively. But this is, a pretty good example of, lead gapper that doesn't perform that hot in the morning and then absolutely explodes late morning lunchtime. So it doesn't happen all the time, but if you get a stock that should be, you're wondering, you're like, why is this not moving? I mean, like it has everything going for it. Sometimes there's still too much selling pressure. It needs to get some of that off its chest. And then eventually when the sellers stop, it just absolutely explodes. And that's what happened to GRNQ. And I think, I'm just saying that could have happened to PHAS. I don't know. Maybe by the time you're watching this, PHAS, it totally exploded. This would have been a good one to hold kind of overnight. But again, you had to take your profits quickly because boom, this thing did not hold its highs whatsoever. So putting a limit order above maybe, if your goal was to hold overnight and it to break 2.5, then trying to take profits before the next whole dollar at 3 obviously is a good idea. So I probably would have been front running at like 289, 293 or something like that, trying to take my profits in here, having an overnight limit order or something like that. Or you're still awake because it's, the market just closed and you could close that trade as well. It gets dangerous when you get greedy and you're just waiting for this thing to, shoot to the moon. And then before you know it, you're closing like a 50% profitable trade for loss because you held too long. So swing trading is it's an interesting art, and it's sometimes very easy to mix up swing trading and day trading, and that's not why I do it ever in the same account. So I even have two accounts. I have my cash account for day trading and my IRA for swing trading and buying dips and sometimes larger caps. And it's a bit more, I really segment it that way. I might even totally rename these accounts to like, obviously my cash account is the $25,000 challenge. So I might call this one like 25K challenge account. My margin account, I don't use too often. I don't even think there's cash in it right now. Sometimes there's cash, sometimes there's not. It really depends. It's like it's not important. And then obviously the IRA is long-term stuff. And I swing trade in my IRA account because, sometimes you want to hold for a few days. And if it's in my IRA account, it really kind of numbs that feeling of like, oh, I want to, close out this trade for, I don't know, some arbitrary reason that isn't trade related. So I like to swing in my IRA for that reason alone. ABIO, guys, breaking up here a little bit with volume, not looking too shabby. Let's quickly go review that last trade I made today. Which one was it? I think it was HX. This was our other lead gapper on the day. Beautiful stuff here with HX. Let's go here pre-market. This thing was gapping up 170%, 45 million float, a little bit on the high side. Chinese credit service company, and they launched a new e-commerce platform. That was the catalyst. This thing, like I said, here we go, gapping up 170%, 200%, and I was like, that is big. Probably overextended, so I'm going to be very careful here with this one, especially at the open, which was good because this thing pulled back 17% and got halted on the way down. Instantly regained itself though. So buying HX on the halt open would have been such a money move. I mean, 20% out of the gates, boom, kablam. That would have been really nice. What I was waiting though for, oh God, 5-minute charts all over the place. What I was waiting for, let me line this one so it's at least a little bit helpful, was HX to show signs of strength again. And we had a pullback here. I was watching this pullback. It was about 810, yeah, 22%. Not too bad. We had another double bottom here, and then boom, nice move here, 15% to the upside. I was like, okay, HK is back in the game. This is looking good. Let me see if I can get a little dip buy on this one pre-market. Got at that dip buy at 122, almost a near perfect entry. Ran up 8%. I had my sell order right above it, like at 35, was looking for just a little bit more of a breakout. Let me quickly scroll back a little bit more so we can see the volume more clearly. We had a huge spike in volume. You see this? So I was like, man, this thing's got to hit 35 at least. I mean, I'm probably taking profits too early. Didn't do it, and then it pulled back. This pullback was very aggressive. So I got out basically as soon as that candle did not work out. I just closed out my trade. Still made, a nice 4% on it, but it could have been much, much more. I think I even made like 5%. Again, I used tiny position size. So I'm excited to increase my position size, but I like having more trades. I like having 3 to 4 trades a day. And since I'm using an account with $6,300, I have to kind of juggle it. Do I want to do one trade with $3,000, let's say, or do I want to do 3 trades with $3,000, or do I want to do 4 trades with like $700, getting close to $800? It's a little bit tough. It's tough. I'm not gonna lie. If I trade pre-market, I always use less position size, and I kind of calculate that I'm going to do 4 trades. But if I'm only doing, let's say, I don't know, I missed the open and I haven't traded and it's like 10 o'clock, then I'll probably be a little bit more aggressive with my position size, just because I don't know, I would at least like 1 or 2 trades. So yeah, I mean, HX out of the gate, buying this halt would have been really, really nice. This was pretty aggressive move to the downside, 20%. So yeah, I don't know. Kind of an interesting day. I'm a little disappointed that I was just out of trades, because I think I could have done some really good trading after 10 o'clock today, which is, I don't always say that, but today was the day to do it, because here, for example, at 10:09, HX breaks back above VWAP. We kind of aggressive pullback, but then we start trending higher. So buying on this candle as we break past this high of this red candle at 130 roughly, boom. I mean, you have a move here of 10% selling before this break here, buying basically a potential cup and handle at this double top at 145, take profits. And then if you miss this breakout here, you could have bought the dip, bought the pullback, boom, and another 12% profit. So there was a lot of great trading opportunities. I was just kind of out of the game right away because I threw all of my capital, my trading opportunities on PHAS, trying to buy this red to green move that just never came to fruition. And then again, buying this super, super slow move here. So shame on me for I don't know, buying the slowest mover today. But then again, you know, PHAS could have been a good win. If I just bought it like once at 5.8 or something, right, and then, you know, sold into this high, that also would have been a 10% move. So it's hard to say. I definitely dropped the ball a little bit on PHAS. I got too aggressive, and then instantly I traded again right away. I should have been focused on stocks that had more momentum, like ABIO. I mean, check this out. Dollar volume on ABIO, 400 million, while PHAS second place at 99 million, even though the market cap is much higher. So technically this 400 million is a lot of traded capital. And since the shares are so small on this one, it basically means the shares outstanding were changed like 5 times today. I mean, that's a lot of back and forth between the small amount of shares out there. So that's why ABIO had such an explosive day, because low float doesn't take a lot and a lot of people looking at it. So, I mean, it's not rocket science, but sometimes these super obvious things are just good to point out. So you just got to remind yourself over and over and over again. And that's why a lot of times before I enter a trade, I'm just, you know, walking through everything on my watch list. I'm like, okay, you know, gapping up, 100%, 1 million float has a catalyst. You know, you just lead gapper on the day. You just want to kind of get those thoughts out while you're in the trade sometimes, to remind yourself what the overall conviction behind the trade is. You know, how strong can this breakout be? Because I'm going to tell you right now, a stock typically with a float over 50 million isn't going to make these big aggressive moves. They happen, they're just less likely. So it's nice to understand that this is a low float stock. This thing can, if it wants to, it can explode much easier. So yeah, again, guys, I hope you found value in this video. Don't forget to leave a like if you did find value. Subscribe if you're new. We go live every morning at 9:15 a.m. to review the watch list and then trade the market open. That's everything for this video. I'll see you guys for the last day of trading tomorrow, and then it's weekend. So I'll see you guys there. Stay safe and make some awesome trades. Ciao, ciao.